Welcome back to Love of One. I'm Angela Bolton, joined today by Dallisa Hawking. In this episode, Spiritual Community Power, Awakening Amplified in 2026, we explore so many topics and also why group energy is the new superpower. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Love of One. I'm so delighted to have Dallisa Hawking back. And today we're just going to chat it up like two awesome women who have a lot to say, and we're moving through a lot and talking about things that other people are bringing up in the communities and in the world as we move through this chaotic time and see what sparks today.
I love it. Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
Yeah.
We had such a great conversation, and we did a co-channeling the last time. And so this time, I know there's going to be something that comes out of this that needs to be birthed out into the world. So thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. Let's just dive in. There were some things that we talked about offline before we came on today about things that are kind of in the space. And last time we had this conversation, it was all about community and how we're learning to not just learning, but we're kind of drifting into this thing of community. And I know that I have been feeling it so intensely. I'm the 12th house heavy, in astrology. And so it's all about in Taurus and Aries. And I'm like all about solitude. And lately I've been like, bust me out of solitude.
That might be the fire horse. I wonder if that energy, the fire horse is interesting, right? Because I think it can be great in a lot of ways because we probably feel a lot more momentum, or we will be feeling that.
Yeah.
But I also think it can bring with it that shadow side of missing details, like going way too fast and not grounding into like, why am I even doing this? Why am I making this choice? And then speaking of astrology, there's so much going on with it. We just had Saturn Neptune conjunct in Aries.
Yeah.
And I've been feeling lately as I channel that there's going to be this identity crisis of sorts. And just like you said about busting out of solitude, I think there's going to be more people that maybe have been more by themselves, or they've enjoyed being by themselves. And I think all of this energy that's coming to the surface, I don't think that's where a lot of the energy and momentum will be. I think it will be when you're out and about, or when you're in community, or when you're around friends, family, your network, whatever that is. I think the energy supports more of the group and less of the one-on-one, or at least like if you're by yourself, that's okay. But are you by yourself too much? Like balance and everything. Right. But I do think there's something about group dynamics that's really on the forefront right now.
Yeah. So I've been joining every community call I can. And I have Shamanic Tuesdays twice a month. I have Kimo Capano's Light Series, a teacher of mine, and we get together with his seminars every other week. And then joining just like all these different communities that I've had throughout my whole 5 years of awakening and moving through and processing and embodying. And I have to tell you that every time it's a shamanic journey or an activation or moving through something with the group, it is totally amplified. I get way more out of that than if I sit and do a meditation or a recorded one that I'm listening to online, or if I do a small little journey by myself. It's so much more amplified. And I feel like that's what's here now, and that's what we're moving into for sure. When we talked about community before, is the amplification of that. We're all holding the same intention. We're all, collaborating with our energy. It's really fun though. I really like it. And it's so peaceful, but also uplifting and so much love.
I agree. I've been building a lot around community stuff lately. And what feels so good about it is, I think maybe this just comes with my experience and age and trying a lot of different things.
I hear you.
But I really feel like I'm approaching it where like I really have the intention of everyone bringing their unique self to the table. Like, teach what you believe in, teach what you think is important right now. Like, who am I to tell people that I want to collaborate with, like, oh, teach this or teach that. It's like, no, come and bring your light. I think that's the Pluto and Aquarius. It
Mhm.
just feels like we're all being nudged to bring our own uniqueness, our own individual signature to the
Yeah.
table. And the more we do that, I think the more successful we will be. And I know your audience, you have a lot of people, including mine too, that um, like classes and like spirituality and all of that, or they're practitioners and they're hearing this and maybe they've been feeling the nudge too about groups and bringing different groups together and like, how do I do this? And how,
Yeah.
so yeah, I like it to be more of a living, breathing thing.
Me too. Yeah. In my work, what I've come to understand in my own experience, of course, is that community is, we all come in here as a collective group already, right? So we have what we call star seeds. I don't really like to use those terms very much, but there's something that people can relate to, right? All of us star seeds that come in, we're all part of the same group. And I had this aha moment when I was channeling the other day where, at 3 a.m., where I was like, oh, when you go through this awakening process and you really dive in and you truly go inward, and I don't mean bypassing, but I mean like inward, right? And you go through all these layers of your onion and you get to a moment, I think it's part of the step process. You get to the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here to save the world. Oh my gosh, it's all on me. And it feels so big and it feels so like responsible, right? But then you step back and you're like, oh wait, no. But everyone I've talked to always had that moment. And then I was wondering, why do we always have this moment as a human? Because we're human. And because we all came in collectively, this group collectively saying, we're here to help the world. And so when we're waking up separately, we have that thought process. But really, it's our whole collective. We came in here with that understanding that we're here to help. But we have to break through the human veil to then understand that's why I feel that way. But it's not. It's a collective help.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's so
And
much
it's
in
so
there.
beautiful. I know.
Gosh, there's so much in there. Okay. So, what it brings up for me, and I'm just going to share this as like a vulnerable moment here,
Yeah, I love it.
because I imagine somebody out there also needs to hear this out loud.
Mhm.
I spent many years being the rescuer, like trying
Mhm.
to help the world, save the world, just like you said. And I feel very mission driven.
Mhm.
And I feel like I incarnated to do the work I'm doing now. And sometimes I sit with it and I think about like, at what cost? Like, what did I not opt into as a result?
Right?
Because
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been married. I don't have any kids.
Mhm.
And it like never even like came across the pathway. And I
Mhm.
was always like, yeah, I'm open to it. It
Mhm.
never like entered the pathway. And so
Mm.
I it's given me a lot of, reflection about why that could be. I don't have any regrets. I
Mhm.
know that life unfolds as it should. And I'm sure there was a lot of planning on the other side before this
So right.
incarnation. Um, but yeah, I think just reminds me of some reading that I've done lately, and there was a quote, and I'm going to totally butcher it, but it's about like you decided to go on this one ship,
Mm.
and that ship went off in one direction. You don't know what would have been on the other ship, but
Sure.
it is what it is. So
Mhm.
I share that because I think in even going back to talking about groups, I think there's a lot of like magic and awesomeness when we can be vulnerable in a group together.
Yes.
And we can
Yes.
just talk about the things that people don't talk about. I made a video recently about how we were lied to. Now, it's kind of a dramatic title, but it was like a 10-minute where I just kind of went off about how we were told, at least like, I'm 45.
Mhm.
So when I was a kid, like all the little girls would talk about like, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have 3 kids. Like, I'm going to live here. I'm going to, like, that was the thing. I mean, up through childhood, being a teenager,
Yeah.
early 20s, then you get into your 30s, right? So I think there's like these stories that we have heard or we were a part of that really are breaking down. I think that what was once the normal thing to do is now coming up against people where I hear more and more from individuals saying, I picked the things that I thought I should pick.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if I want to be married to the person I'm married to. I don't even like the job that I chose for myself. I thought all of these different decisions that people told me would make me happy or fulfilled. I'm questioning all of it. So it's
Yeah.
like there's like this collective energy right now where people are really trying to sort through like, who the heck am I?
Yes, I feel that too. And also sitting and observing the world around them a little bit more, which I love, and understanding to themselves, like, there is more than this out here. I don't feel like there's almost like a feeling across your bones, like, this is not what I'm intended to do. I don't think that I'm intended to be with this person forever, you know? I'm going to share a little story that's relevant to this topic. I was in a plant medicine ceremony, and it was San Pedro, Pachuma, which is one of my favorite allies. And that was the first time I had sat with him in ceremony. And what was interesting is every time I do a group too, you always see that everyone there with you is mirroring something back to you of why you're there, which is also interesting. Every single time, which is interesting. Throughout the whole week, it was like a week-long thing. We started with a different plant medicine. We ended with that one. The whole week, everyone's like, oh, you were divorced. And people who are divorced. So like, oh, sort of judgy about the divorce situation. I've been divorced twice. And that came into my journey, and it was explained to me because I was like in it. And not only did I have to sit there for 12 hours and endure every single emotion on every single level possible, color, frequency, where it's in the body, in the motion itself that came out, scream, laugh, cry, whatever. Every time someone would come in and out of that year, I would pick up on one conversation, and one came in about divorce again. And it took me through the whole reason of divorce is like, it's such a judgmental thing to judge someone about not being married or divorced or how many times they've been married and divorced. It's like, if you understand the whole process a little bit, even into your own belief system, you'll see that people come in and out of our life for a reason. And it doesn't mean we have to stay with that person or not. They're teaching us a lesson. They're mirroring back what we need to know. It could be a past life, like my last ex. I was like, what the beep, 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 beep is happening here? And I came to understand he was a past life soul. This is the fourth time we had to learn a lesson in a different role in the same play. And I finally broke the cord. But knowing, like, if I stayed because I didn't want to get divorced a second time and have that judgmental stigma, I would still be miserable. I would be so, so miserable and probably depressed and, not myself. And so if you think about that, like, it's freedom, right? My kids are happier because we're divorced. I'm happier. Things are peaceful, and that occurs. So I wanted to share that because it's very, very much to that point of, that's what we were told over and over, but that's not why we're here.
Yeah, it's like we're peeling back all of those layers and we're really starting to see the truth of all of the things.
Yeah.
And for some people, I think it could feel like a breakdown, or it could feel like they're in a silo, or that they're having an identity crisis. I think that there's going to be a lot of that we're going to witness in the world.
Yes.
But I think that's why so many of us, including people in your audience and my audience, that we got into this work earlier. Like, we've been doing this a while. And I think that was very intentional. I think we were being like prepped and ready to go for what's about to start really happening on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think we've touched the level of dismantling that's going to be happening.
We're just on the precipice of it.
Yeah. And there's going to be so many people that won't know which way to turn, which way to look, who to talk to. And so I think we've laid a lot of foundation. And it's not a brag. It's just there's so many of us that were called to this in advance of all of this
Mm.
happening. And I think we're here right now for this very reason. And for some reason, this is coming in. So I'm going to mention it.
Yeah.
I've had people, some lately, that have said to me, like, oh, I'm 65 years old, 75 years old, whatever age they put, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I really want to do healing work, but I just don't know if it's like too late for me. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago about how
Mm-hmm.
we each are our own unique being and we bring something to the table. And I believe that you are the age that you are now for a reason, because
Yeah.
you've gone through so many things in your life and you see it from a different perspective. You bring your own unique viewpoint to this. Like, we
Yeah.
need everybody. If anyone listening is like, I've been thinking about doing this,
Do it.
we need you,
Yeah.
please. And we need ethical
Yes.
practitioners,
So
because
much.
there is something to be said about who do you trust in this industry, right? Because it can be seductive sometimes when we are in a dark cave, a dark night of the soul, and we're looking for help,
Yes.
that we may end up aligning with somebody that isn't
Mm-hmm.
of the highest frequency or doesn't have our best interest in mind. So
Mm.
just because someone tells you they are a Reiki practitioner, a psychic, a medium, a card reader, an astrologer, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Just because they say that's what they are and they've done all these sessions or classes, it doesn't necessarily mean they are aligned with your frequency for what you need at that moment. So I
Mhm.
would just say pump the brakes a little bit and tune in as best as you can to your own intuition before you dive in with someone that you don't know and you don't know what their intentions with you are.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that. I try to bring that up in as many places as I can because it's so true. And it's happened to me along my journey. I'm 49. And although I remember when I was really little having all these crazy experiences and doing light language in the field and having a imaginary friend that I totally saw stardust and nobody else saw it and all these things. And then it went quiet for a very long time. In the past 5 years, I've taken a really rough, long ride, but it's very intentional because when you do that, it's from lived experience. So I was just talking to one of my soul sisters this morning, and I always, in everything I've done, I always want to know exactly like the meaning down to the most basic level, like embodiment. What is embodiment? What does that really truly mean? How does that feel? And what does that mean? Because to me, it's just a word. Like I'm embodying. Well, I'm a human and I'm embodying the soul. So, yeah, I get it. But no, what is like? How do I know I'm embodying something? And it's through lived experience. So when you've been through the trenches and you live through all those experiences, and then you start to feel it in your body. And to me, embodiment is lived experience and allowing your body to catch up through integration through each step of the way. And then that when someone else, also when someone's embodied, I don't know about you, Dallisa, but when someone's embodied to me, they talk without it skipping a beat. Their information, their knowledge, their wisdom comes through without a beat and very clear. Maybe like me, my head goes a little faster than my mouth, but because I'm used to light language, it's fast. But that's true embodiment. So now, when I look for a practitioner, anybody in the spiritual space or just anywhere, even doctors, I'm always looking for that. First, I'm feeling it in my body. Like, what's my body telling me? And then if they can't just sit and have this conversation like you and I are open without notes, without cards, without anything, no prep, and be in it and embodying that experience and that knowledge and that wisdom and that channel, then that's a no-go for me. That's not
Yeah.
my discernment. I hope that
Yeah.
for
I
our listeners.
I love all of that you just shared. It reminds me of people I've come across, and it's not any judgment to them, but just
Yeah.
as an example, people that don't really have confidence in their gifts. Like they've
Yes.
gotten far enough
Mhm.
that they're doing sessions or they're teaching
Mhm.
classes. But
Mhm.
then behind the scenes, you realize like, oh, they're still like reading their notes about what it is that they're teaching, or they don't feel like they're the best teacher for this. There's a bit of imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
So I love what you said. It's like, yeah, you can recognize it because you just talk about it and you're open about it and you can
Yeah.
share from that
No big
space.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, what are they doing behind the scenes? Like, how are they living their life? And I don't mean to say that we need to know every detail of everyone's life, but
No.
I think the work that, at least from my perspective, the work that I do, I see it as like my body is a filter.
Mhm.
And so the clearer I am, the more work I do on myself, the more accurate we could say the
Yeah.
channelings are, their predictions, or just
Mhm.
to filter the information that I'm channeling through. It's not getting caught in weeds, necessarily
I like that. Yes.
within my body.
Tangle the
Yeah.
web.
Yeah. So I I'm very serious about the way that I live my life. Not that I try to have more fun. I've been told many times I need to have more fun, but um I know that the experience I am having as a human
Mhm.
also reflects on what I'm doing professionally from a very literal filtration system in
Mm.
that kind of way. And I don't think people really talk about that much. We are filtering it through our own body and energy.
Yeah, 100%. Along my own personal journey, I'm always like, "Oh, I really wish I had more clients. I wish I was already doing this 2 years ago." But then I set back to myself and I observed my own process and my own path. And I'm like, no, because I don't feel like I was ready. I don't feel like I know I wasn't ready. And I didn't feel like I was ready because I didn't want to be that bypasser. I didn't want to be that person that wasn't embodying it. And then I finally knew what that really, really meant and felt like, from like a 2-year-old's perspective. And then I was like, okay, now I'm ready. And now when you're ready and you're really in that zone, everything just starts to happen for you. Like it just, like your abilities get stronger. You know, should you still get lessons or should you still master your craft? Absolutely. We were always learning. That's why I still have teachers to help me go the extra mile, right? But not on the confidence. Once you get the confidence, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be confident that I knew what I was talking about, that my experiences are real for myself. I have the rule of three. I fact check myself 3 different times in 3 different ways at 3 different people on something that's big before I'm like, okay, yeah, I could talk about that, And then just like channeling, I don't know if this has happened for you, but when I first started channeling, it was more of like mediumship and it was my loved ones. And then my body was settling into that. And then after that, I was channeling other extraterrestrials, but my body was like, my nervous system was shaky. My body was stiff. I called them Barbie hands because they looked like this all the time. you know? So these energies would come in, these different frequencies, and they would they would pin me down. And sometimes I'd slant off the table and be stiff and jacked up. And then the more that I practiced it, and the more that I helped my body integrate with me, alongside me, the more my body was able to settle, and the higher the frequencies of beings I got to embody. And now it's the Divine Mother, but she was helping me educate. I was in training, right? I was in training to be able to carry such a frequency. And not to say that I don't dip here and there and everywhere, but just to say that a lot of practitioners don't do that. They just come out of the board because they're excited. And I love that because it's very exciting. But it's good to step back and say, how can I be of service even better than I was yesterday? And how can I be in service and what can I offer and make my container even better for the greater good? And how can I be of service in that way? What does that look like? And what can I do myself to get there? And that's, I think, is the most important part as we all navigate through these massive changes we're going through.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, channeling frequencies, I've noticed that different types of beings and energies feel different in the frequency. And I don't think people talk about that enough either,
No.
because, you know, they might think everything just sounds or feels the same, and it's
No.
not. It's angels feel different than galactic beings. Even galactic beings can feel different from other galactic beings. Guides feel different. They all are different.
Yeah. And if your
And
body's not ready for it, it can be quite the shaker-upper.
yeah, I agree. So I love what you're saying about, like, reflect. Don't just
Yeah.
feel like you have to go and do all of the things and you have to do them as quickly as possible, even though the world's falling apart. You don't have to. It can really just be this journey, this one
Yeah.
step and another step, and see what happens and keep living your life. And
Yeah.
I think that there's divine timing in play with all of this.
All of it.
And divinity, the universe, God knows when
Mhm.
we're ready. And if you
Even
keep
when we
pushing,
don't.
yeah. And I'll get questions from a lot of psychic students that'll say, oh, well, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything. Like, I want to, And I think sometimes expectation can block it as well. So
Yeah.
something you said a moment ago reminded me of just like the more relaxed you are, the more it comes through. And I think setting an intention is fine. Like, set the intention you want to connect, you're open to connecting, but try to get out of the way, because most of the time, in my experience, when something's not coming through, either I'm trying too hard or I am really hoping it comes through fast. And so I get in my own way.
Yeah.
So the more I can just say, here's my intention, or here's my question that I'm sitting with, and I can just relax,
Yeah.
it comes through so much easier.
Yeah. I would agree. I would totally agree. When I catch my breath, I relax, I breathe in, close my eyes, and sometimes I have to repeat it just because I'm like, no, I really want to know this. Don't hold back. I know you know the answer out there. Like, just like last night, I was having some trouble breathing. I'm going through this energy thing right now, with like physically. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna breathe. And I want to see symbols. I've been working with symbols a lot. They've been coming into my field a lot. The sun actually gives me a lot of symbols. But I was like, what is the symbol that I can sit with that will help alleviate this inflammation in my bronchial? And I just repeated it. And I just repeated it very nicely with gratitude. And it came. And it came forward. And then I drew it. And then I said, how do I work with it? And then they worked with it over my body, down the body, around the body, in the body. I drew it on paper, put my water right on it, set it into my water. And then I asked, what mantra can I utilize with this geometry? And they said, "Pa-ta." And so I just kept repeating, "Pa-ta, pa-ta," as I visualized that symbol. And then I pa-ta it to my water. And sure enough, it just and then I was able to fall asleep. It's not crazy. I've been doing this
gives me
for
chills.
I've been doing this with my clients. I'll be sitting with them and I'll see an image that comes through. And then all of a sudden, Sophia's channeling this light language mantra of tones specifically for their body with this geometric shape that they also work with their body, glass of water, writing it down, looking at it, meditating with it, and then using the thing. And it's profound. It's like a fixer-upper.
Wow. I've been talking about blessing water a lot lately, so it's interesting that you bring that in.
I'll give a little tip. So if you put your hand and then you move it counterclockwise over your food and out, like you're actually clearing it and sending it out. So I do that over my water. I was doing it over my food the other day with a friend I hadn't seen in a while, and he's like, "What are you doing there?" And I said, "I'm just clearing my food." But just things like that is beneficial for us. Just take the time.
For sure. I think little things like that they don't cost anything. You can do them when you're within your own home, wherever you're at. It's things that just take a few moments. I love that.
Yeah.
I have to selfishly ask you something.
Sure.
because I know your audience is really in tune with you and what you embody and teach and everything. Sophia is new to my awareness, okay? So I don't know anything about
Yeah.
Sophia.
So Sophia is the
Tell me all
divine.
about it.
She's the divine mother
Mhm.
of all that is. So there's a book that's called the Sophia Code, which is beautiful. Not I'm not plugging. I'm just saying what the book is, and it's very similar. But this person was also channeling the dragons. But there's codes in it, and what they really are when I started reading it is light codes, and this was like 4 years ago. And then when I went a little deeper, she first came in as the mother of the universe, mother of the universe energy. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And so I had to dive even further. And then it was Sophia. And what Sophia is so if you think of consciousness and the circle, the little dot in the center is how I can explain it best, probably in the most simple terms. When there's a little dot, and then it kind of, it's like a first breath. So pretend that little dot is a bowl of water, right? And a little drop of that water first came out at the very first drop. That was feminine, and another drop was masculine. So you have Thoth, and everybody knows who Thoth is. Sophia is basically the counterpart of balance of Thoth. So she represents the divine mother, where he is really the divine father in many different forms. And so is she. She could also be known as Isis or Ma'at or many different things that are very mother, the divine mother collection. Mother Mary is attached in her bloodline. So, but what she is she holds the heart of the universe. And apparently in my work and understanding of lots of hypnosis recorded sessions, she is the mother of this universe. So that's why she came in that way, where there's a mother for every universe within the universe and going. It's so beautiful when you see it and understand it. And then what happens is there's different, so in each universe that all feeds up to the megaverse, I guess you could call it, there is 15 dimensions to my understanding and my experience. And that 15th one is the consciousness of this universe. And then the 14th is the void and everything. Like, it's funny because when I got placed there, I was like, oh my God, I see everything. And my body was like freaking out. And I was like, I see everything. But it was black. I saw nothing, but I saw everything. And I could hear everything. And it was so bizarre. And then we went to the 13th. And the 13th was just this big green, round, green ring of beautiful heart coherence energy. It was the most beautiful thing. I love experiencing it. And I always said, I wish everyone can experience this because it is so profoundly beautiful. It makes you want to cry. I just get emotional talking about it. But what it is the 13th frequency of the heart of the universe is what all the planets, all the stars, all the beings of this universe are all connected through a golden tether string to that piece. And that is her realm. She's the mother of creation of the heart. And that's what she brings.
Wow, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
What does she usually say, or what is like her tone or her message that she typically comes in with?
So she's very, very, I wrote an article. She had me write this article and submit it, schedule it to hit exactly when they were conjunct with Aries at 0 degrees. She's got an Aries 0 degrees. Because it's a starting point, right? And so we did that. How I see her is she usually floats above myself and the people I'm working with or the one-on-one sessions. And she comes in as this beautiful golden globe of light. And so that I know that it's her or not some other one, she brings in this golden hair like this. So she's very feminine. Like, you'll recognize me by my hair. And it just flows down and kind of goes off, kind of like Ponyo's mom. Have you ever seen the movie Ponyo? She had this long, red, beautiful hair. Oh my gosh. And so she comes in like that. And then she often just opens her hands. And when she opens her hands, she floods everybody with gold love. Like, it's beautiful. And then what she usually does is she comes through in a frequency of light language to mirror the people I'm working with, either group or individual. And we mirror the tone and frequency of their light codes. So light language, language of light, light codes, it's all the same thing. But what it truly is a lot of people just say, oh, it's just your original galactic or past life language. That is all true, but it's so much more. It's really tone, frequency, color, and geometry. And so if we think about our body is made up of all those same things. If we zoom in, really like zoom in to our body, our fractal body, you will see geometry and our little fractals that are holding it all together. She wants me to point this out. She says it's really important because for our listeners, because when we think about our body, we can have a doppelganger, people that look like us. We can have twins. People are recreating themselves. We've all heard that. But what you cannot recreate, no matter what, is your own voice to your soul. And if you think about it, yeah, that sounds right. That's why there's many multi-languages. That's why there's accents. That's why there's female, male. That's why there's all different tones, right? So it's really our tone that's keeping us together. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Because each tone is geometry, because it's all math. It's all mathematical equations. It's geometry. If you take, and I think Robert Edward Grant just had this after I had this download, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And his work is very mathematical. Like he's like the Tony Stark of the universal mathematical equations, right? And geometry. But he even said, if you stack binaries on top of each other, and push them out to 3D, you'll see the geometry. And then if you take out the letters from light language, which are vowels and consonants, right? But if you stack those on that mantra together, you will get the same thing. You pop it out, it's geometry. So these little symbols are in our body, in our field, my bed, everything. So she comes in, she connects, and she redirects that geometry where it's needed and clear your blueprint.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to start working with her then.
You should. Beautiful. Yeah. She brings such beautiful love. It's just, she'll come in, she'll clear. Sometimes she'll bring in other angels. So I was working with someone last week, and they brought in Raphael and introduced himself as her new guide on her new path forward and her new chapter. And it was beautiful. And before we connected, she said, after we did it, she said, before I got on, I've been asking myself for a week, where are my guides? I didn't know where my guides were. And it also came, Raphael said, and you have new teachers coming with us. And she's like, there we go. No wonder I wasn't hearing from them, because I'm getting new ones. And she was like, so upset.
Yeah, I bet she was.
Yeah.
I've had experiences with Mother Mary, and I've had them with Jesus, and not in a religious sense, but just as ascended masters.
Yeah.
And they've been incredible experiences and unplanned. How did you find Sophia, or how did Sophia find you?
It was a soul contract that I've been working with for her for thousands of years, apparently. Yeah. So I was Ma'at, which is an Egyptian goddess of the gods. She was Thoth's counterpart. It all made sense. I was like, oh, full circle. Ma'at was Thoth's partner, whatever you want to call it, back in the dynasty of Egypt, ancient Egypt. And I made sure 3-4 different times from different practitioners and different hypnotherapy types, and the same story just kept coming over and over and over again, that I would come in for thousands of years, slip into the same holographic body. I never aged because I was just slipping into the same, it was like described as a dress. You have the same favorite red dress and you just wear the same red dress everywhere you went. It was the same thing, but it was Ma'at's holographic body. And I would go around and I would help teach the world and different indigenous cultures. That's why I can speak those light languages, on how to work with the planets and the elements and the sky and and get to their consciousness and work with emotions and what does that look like. And so she was coming to observe mostly of how this planet was ran. And seed, she'd take seeds, she'd work with seeds, she'd plant seeds, she'd grow seeds. And then she said, you know what? It's time to come in through the womb and experience that. And I came in as a man. Yes.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Well, then I have to ask you, I'm just on a roll asking you a bunch of
Yeah,
questions now
sure.
because they
No,
keep
it's great.
popping in. As I'm listening, I hear psychically like questions to ask you.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Do you think that many of us will come back and do another incarnation on Earth? Or do you think that we're done after this if we really nailed it?
Such a good question. I know why they're asking because nobody really talks about this. But in a couple sessions, and I know why they're asking too, because they're like, we're just confirming with her. But yeah. So it has been explained multiple times that this new earth is like the PhD for us souls who have been here and repeating this loop over and over and over again. And what it's shown is that we're all graduating and a lot of people have come now, and that's why there's a lot of population and a lot of population leaving all of a sudden is because we're done. And a lot of those populations are leaving right now have graduated and they're moving on. A lot of them are already there, incarnating there. And that is what we're here to do. A lot of us came in to help them graduate and to help build this PhD school, if you will, and so that's what has been shown over and over. Now there's still going to be those brand new souls because they said there's a lot of baby souls being born and a planet can only hold so much of population, period, is what they said. And so because of that, baby souls can't come in. So there's still use for this old Gaia, we have Arya, we have Gaia. And so there's still use for that. But that's why going on this road together as a collective is like, you can't force people to do stuff because that's not where they're at in their soul's evolution. And so I heard Lee Harris talk about it not too long ago too, where he was also saying, and I was like, yes, I agree that we're not here to tell people what to do. We're here with our abilities and our wisdom, and we either resonate with people or we don't, and that's okay. But we are here to help assist those to graduate and finally move on to a PhD, if you will, where it's like you got your A's, you got all your A pluses and your extra credit for some of us, and now you can go off and learn something new in a better, more relaxed, enjoyable state, And there are still people that are still here, still learning, not graduated. Maybe they're B's, C's, D's, and some serious F's we got going on in here, and incompletes. But that's how it's been explained to me over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you nailed it. There's a lot to be said about this being an advanced classroom because I will often say, oh, yeah, there's a quote by Rumi, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. And I say that and I get a lot of pushback. Like, I never would have asked for this, and this to happen to me. Like, well, on the other side, before you're born, I do think that we pick out some things that we want to learn in this advanced classroom.
Totally.
And I know that sounds awful to people that have lived through really horrible things in their life.
Yeah.
But I do think that those really hard things are like those extra credit points. And
Totally.
They go towards your graduation and it's not wasted. Anything
Right.
that we go through is not wasted.
Not at all.
And I feel kind of silly saying that, knowing what some people out there have been through. But I do think it's part of this school, whether you call it a simulation or what do you think? Do you think it's a simulation of sorts?
I do think it's a simulation of sorts. So there's many different probabilities and timelines all moving at the same time. You know that. And, but it's real. Yeah. And one of my early works that I'm putting in a book that I'm writing, co-creating with this soul sister is that I had no idea like how a soul is actually produced. And I was like, okay, well, it's produced by another drop of water being taken out, right? Down different levels and into a star. And it's actually a star, but a star over time, it changes its molecular structure. And I usually don't talk like this. So I've been getting a lot of education in physics that I didn't know. And so, but over time, it changes into a soul. And then it has its choice. Its free will starts at that level. Where do you want to start your evolution to feed all back up to consciousness so that we all understand these experiences? And then you can choose a different ET species race. You could choose the human race. You could choose an animal, a planet, what planet, like, or not a planet, just total around the stars, you know? So you have all these different choices. And then when you choose to come into Earth, as I understand, then you get to choose your soul family, what play you're playing. We're all in a play playing different characters. And then if we don't learn, we repeat and play a different character in the same soul family, different role. Like my ex-husband that I bleeply beeped about was, my father in a previous life. My dad now was my older brother. So we always play these roles to help evolve. It was also explained that the evolution of a soul, and the soul has its own identity. So the soul, just like it was explained, just like you are Dallisa and you are on this planet and you are doing this role and playing this play, you are you. No matter what, there is only one Dallisa Hawking, right? In a soul perspective, it's the same thing. But out there, we are a geometry. We are a tone. We are still an individual. So whenever we choose to evolve our soul throughout, however long we want to, that wisdom still stays with our soul. So that's what we call the oversoul. So we have our higher self guiding our soul now. But you can reach beyond that to the oversoul and access all of that wisdom that your whole soul lifetime, thousands, billions, whatever, has obtained. And you can bring that in. So you're still an individual soul out there. And that is what makes us unique. That is what makes us unique in what we're offering at this time. And that is what's unique for everybody. I think that is such a beautiful way of explaining it. And then we asked, what if we don't want to do it anymore? They said, you have that choice too. And you explode. So you see shooting stars and exploding stars. That's a soul saying, oh, I'm so tired. I'm done.
And then they're gone forever?
Then they're gone. But but everything they've learned stays in the records for everyone else to gather from. Is that beautiful?
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That it went dark. Like my soul just went out. Did you see that? So I'm talking about stars imploding, and then my light went out like boop.
Wow. I had never heard that about a shooting star. That's going to give me a lot to consider. Not that I necessarily want to go blow up in outer space, but
right.
I never heard that before.
No, take what you want, leave the rest. This world is so amazing when you just allow to receive whatever information and wisdom comes through, which I think is so beautiful. And it's been a hard existence for me in this one because I brought in collective, ancestral, personal. I think if you name it probably happened to me and I pushed through. So talk about embodiment. Not that it makes me special or anything like that. Just it's the experience of, can I keep going? I can relate to those people out there who are like, I don't know, been shit. And I'm like, I know, I've been there. I really have. It's not an easy road, but it's all worth it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel squeezed right now in all different kinds of ways. But I would like to remind all of us that we chose to be alive right here, right now for this, because it's already a PhD school, right? We're already getting our PhD, but this compressed amount of time.
It's really fast.
And that we're going through now and witnessing everything that's going to be taking place with all the dismantling. It's like getting a few PhDs at once. So I try to relax as much as you can. Like if you really feel like something's haywire or a challenge and you're just trying to get through it, remember, like just like we were saying about it being a play. Yes, we all play different characters for each other.
Yeah.
Like this is a movie. So if you even started to think about it as each day of your life is like the Truman Show, or it's like a movie, and this is all just us playing parts for each other, I think it does take some of the heaviness out of it sometimes.
It does. It's helped me. And also to remember and remind myself that I chose that path. I chose full participation in all of it. It's kind of like saying you can't live in the past, only in the present and somewhat in the future. But because you already fully participated and you've already went through it, and now you're living with those choices, good, bad, wrong, great, indifferent, and not to sugarcoat and make it like it's your fault. It's nothing about that. It's just that there's a reason why we chose it. So we could get to the next and the next and the next. Because also what I was explained is that once we graduate from Earth School, then we don't have to go to the PhD, right? We don't have to. It's still our choice. If we choose not to, but if we reach our ultimate evolution of feeling human, I'll say, then you have your choice. You can choose as a soul to be an ascended master, be an angel, be a guardian, be a teacher for someone on the other side, or just be a different species who roams the universe collecting seeds. You have this choice. It's an evolution. It's kind of like here on Earth. If you have a career path and you have to reach your goal to the next, and then be CEO someday if that's your goal, and then be done, then it's the same. It's the same thing on the other
I
side.
heard something recently. I think it's Robert Monroe's thoughts or theories on the other side. Because I like to talk about manifestation, and when I get specific, I can call it in, and it's there. But something I heard, Jordan Crowder, he's got a podcast. He's amazing, and he's read a lot of Robert Monroe's books. And one of the things he said lately that really just kind of blew my mind, and I was like, yes, this is a yes, is that not only are we co-creating what we have here, but when we get to the other side or back home or whatever you want to call it, that we co-create our experience there too. I hadn't ever thought about it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Some souls have are leading different lives simultaneously in other places. Like I have part of my soul is in Lyra, part of my soul, there's another person here on the other side of the world. And then another part of my soul is having fun in a spaceship. Like that sounds rad. I want to switch. But, so yeah, we're all evolving in different ways, but we're all also, if you think about that, then we're all also feeding off all that wisdom together, even if you're a soul that's split or you're not. And that's what the whole consciousness, like coming to fruition is going to bring us, is that we're all feeding off each other's wisdom and knowledge and beauty and commonality. And then that makes us more connected more than ever.
Yeah.
We can help where we need it.
I don't think there's going to be such a thing as lying in the future, because I think the frequency is going to get so high that we all will be in or have access to, that we'll know when something isn't really sitting right, or there's a full-blown lie, because I think that's the direction the energy is going into is
100%.
Yeah, which is going to bring about a whole other wave of people wondering, oh no, who am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Who am I married to?
Yeah. I mean, I can feel it in my body when someone's lying. I mean, when you understand energy, I'm sure you can too. When you start reading energy, you can spot it. I love Kimo Kapano. I'll always say that. He's one of my favorite teachers. And he's so charismatic too, which is helpful. But he's a high seer, and he could see these lines. I said, you always know when I'm lying. He's like, you don't lie much, but every now and then you tell a little fib. And I'm like, no, I want to know what it looks like. He goes, there's two lines that run up and down energetically. It's a frequency energetically. And when someone lies, it blips.
Okay.
Bridges.
Yeah, I totally feel it. It feels like almost like a chord of an instrument being hit in the wrong way.
Yeah, in one little spot. Yeah. I was like, that is so intriguing. I just love knowing how things look when I can't see them myself. This is a very visual clairvoyant. I always like to I could visualize that now. Okay. I feel like it brings you closer to that frequency and understanding if you know what it looks like. I don't know.
I think it helps to understand it. I'm definitely clairvoyant, clairaudient as like my two main primaries, but I think just the explanation you just gave of the two lines coming down and like it being struck like a chord or a guitar string. Now I think everybody that's listening to this is like,
Be like,
wait a second, what? So now,
sorry, Kim, I wasn't giving your secrets away, but yeah, I don't think you'd mind, but yeah.
yeah, we're all going to look at people differently when we think they
Yeah.
might be lying to us.
Do I see your cord? Yeah. Did you just make a sound, like a home sound, or yeah?
Oh my gosh, too funny.
So funny. Oh, I'm excited to do a co-creation with you. Should we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, speaking of which, when we're talking about groups and coming together, it's called The Commons, and it's on March 25th, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And anybody that registers gets access to the live, but also gets the replay as well. We have free gifts. We have raffle prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, can you share a little bit about what you have in your mind about because we have 4 different teachers. I'm one of them. You're one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Tara and we have Lindsay. And we're all kind of bringing our own vibe to it.
Yeah. What I'm bringing is the understanding of light language. So a little bit about what we talked about, but even on a deeper level, because if you can believe it, there's even more. And then on top of that, Sophia says she wants to come in and kind of share the unconditional love so that everyone understands what that feels like. And not really understands, but remembers what that feels like. So that anytime they feel dysregulated as we're moving through this very rushed, chaotic energies, that they have something that they can literally walk away with, that they can come home to every single time, so that it helps them regulate themselves.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And everybody will have the replay so they can listen to it as many times as they want.
Yeah. Literally something to come back to. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, there'll be 4 of us. And my intention is that the folks that are there on the live Zoom with us, that I'll look for questions even in the live Zoom, and we'll answer some questions, general questions at the end, and really make it a community gathering online, because I know with community stuff that I do, it amplifies the energy so much. And, hopefully people can join live so they can be there and be a part of it. But either way, still register so you get the replay. And I would watch the replay within 24 hours because it's going to tie into the raffle prizes. So if you happen to be like in Europe, Australia, and it's like way too late and you can't be there, you'll have 24 hours to watch the replay to be entered to win the raffle prizes too. So trying to just include everybody.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, because we do have a global connection to like our listeners, but collectively, shouldn't limit it. I know that I'm giving away a free session one-on-one of the Golden Light as a raffle, and a discount to any of my open sessions or groups that I bring it to the world.
And I'm going to be giving away a full year into my online community called The Gathering Room.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff that we're going to be doing. And I'm so thrilled that you said yes and that you wanted to be a part of it.
Works.
I plan on doing these a couple times throughout the year, but it's not something that's going to be offered regularly. So I would say come join us. So that you don't miss out on it.
Thank you so much for joining and having this awesome open conversation. It's like, a fireside talk.
Yes. We just let the wind take us where it wanted to take us. And
the lights.
Yeah. And you have the link to the Commons that you'll share with folks.
I do. I'll put all of that stuff in the description of the episode and at the end of the outro too, if you stick around. Make sure you subscribe so you can get more information as we get closer, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time with you today, and I look forward to seeing folks over at the Commons.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Thank you, Dallisa.
Thank you, Angela.
That's a wrap on Spiritual Community Power Awakening Amplified in 2026. Thank you, Dallisa, for this powerful conversation. Subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me at loveof1.com or on Instagram at loveof1podcast.